You just reminded us of having patience and having a bit of it for the incoming administration, and also letting us in on expectations from the people for this government, incoming government. But you've been around, you know one of the attributes of a Nigerian, especially the young Nigerian that has seen democracy from 1999 till this very moment. They're impatient, very well impatient, and they really want to see things done pretty fast. True. In the light of that, let's say we don't have that patience for this administration, we need something magical. What would you love them to do pretty fast to give us that calmness that would say, let's be patient, after all, he's been able to fix this for us?
So let me tell you, Nigerians are exceptionally good followers. Until you actually push them to the wall, they won't react. If we have a good leadership, Nigerians know, and the younger ones know too. They know where their prospect, where their future lies. And if you are leading by leadership, if you are leading by example, you have no problem. It's when you are not leading by example and you preach a different thing and do a different thing, that's where you're going to have a problem with the people. And when you take the people for granted. This election that has just passed, it has shown that no government, including the president-elect, said it himself, that he's not going to take Nigerians for granted.
But you know, the thing
those
about
guys,
it,
just 1 minute,
okay.
Those guys that the build up to this election and the strong components of the opposition that defeated this incumbent government, they are still around the corner. If Buhari does not perform, the next 4 years he'll be thrown out too.
Yeah, because when you say time,
yeah,
that they should give him time,
yeah,
and then you spoke about the party manifesto.
yeah.
So yes, the party have got that manifesto, and they've given timelines for some of those things to be achieved in their manifesto. Yeah. And so if that is not happening, well, election will be in 4 years. So one wonders, how much time are you looking at here? Because, you know, the press, after some time, they will jump and start asking questions.
In fact, I was telling somebody that Buhari is coming at a time that there will be no honeymoon for him. Once he's sworn in 29th May, he has to hit the ground. And if Nigerians don't get result, they will immediately, you know, get back at him. The good thing about him and what is going to go on for him is that he has promised to lead by example. And he has to cut down this governance flamboyancy. This will help him in reconnecting with the people. This flamboyancy where a governor, a president moves around with a retinue of cars, retinue of aides, and so on. This has to be cut down. And one of the things I think some of us think he needs to do quickly in creating jobs for these restless youths is done in South Africa. If you go to South Africa now, you have a BMW company that manufactures, that has a manufacturing plant in South Africa. We have about 50-something million Nigerians that use electronics, TV, and so on. Panasonic, Sony, LG, Samsung, and so on. The government can go in partnership with them and say, the least we can accept from you for your products to come into Nigeria is have an assembly plant in Nigeria or a manufacturing plant. You know what that can do, the kind of job it can generate.
Because job creation is very key here.
Very key.
So many Nigerians are out of job.
Yeah, it's very key. And in creating these jobs, it will go a long way in creating environment and things for the restless youth to do.
You know, the APC has made a lot of promise.
Yeah.
You know, upon which they were elected. And expectedly, which is normal, people will always look to them to fulfill those promises. And that's why you say, look, there'll be no honeymoon. They need to hit the ground running. Yeah. And then you started out by saying that you speak once in 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
So what's your unique message now as we wind down?
My unique message, why I speak once in 5 years, if you recall, Chamberlain, 2010 when I came here, that was a build-up to 2011. Jonathan should contest or not. My opinion then was that he shouldn't contest because of this gentleman agreement in the PDP. 8 years north, 8 years south. And we've just lost a president that time, late Umaru Yar'Adua. In my own opinion, that's my opinion then, it's not the opinion of ACF, and I'm not speaking on behalf of ACF here, is that, look, if he was able to make sacrifice, like what he has done now at the end of the day, if he was able to make sacrifice at that time that, look, okay, there's this agreement, 8 years north, 8 years south, let me just finish my boss 2 years and allow the north to finish its own tenure. I am sure, I know the north I know, they would have gone back now, we're in 2015 now, they would have gone back now to bring Jonathan to contest for 8 years, 8 straight years, because he kept to the gentleman agreement. So, after giving that sort of advice, not only on air, there are people I spoke to, and I noticed that they were not ready to budge. So I kept to myself. I went into my NGO activities. Now I'm coming out because I think there's a president that will listen.
So what will be that message?
The message is that I have seen 3 things in Buhari now. I have seen him as a Mo Ibrahim Foundation recipient. And I have seen in him a Nobel Peace Prize recipient. And I have seen somebody in him that could wear the shoes of Nelson Mandela. That is still there.
So what would he do?
Let me tell you from these 3 things. These 3 things, what he would do.
Any of this?
Yeah. The Mo Ibrahim Foundation, by the time Buhari finished his administration, he said he's going to declare his assets publicly and those who will work around him. By the time he finishes, if he's not poorer, he will be exactly as he came in. He might need this Mo Ibrahim Foundation's fund. Number 2, there will be so much peace. He will so much, want to have peace in the country. He will go extra mile to do that the world will recognize him for that. Number 3, there were 2 things Nelson Mandela did in South Africa. It's not that when Nelson Mandela was president, he was not able to solve all South African problems, but there were 2 things he did. Number 1, he had the spirit of forgiveness. Number 2, that 4 years he did and stepped aside and mentored the younger one. Those were the 2 things that shot him to global recognition. So I'm sure Buhari will be very conscious of history, what he will leave behind. And I'm sure he will want to live with his integrity.
So that's
after the office. Yeah, after office, and he will want to live with more honor.
Let's squeeze this in because we're really out of time on this one. What do you see happening to, first of all, the young people? And then in 8 years, what also do you see happening?
In 8 years, there are some very young, brilliant chaps around Buhari that are working around the clock. I will mention them, people like Sam Nda. They are working around the clock to see that the younger ones have the maximum benefit of Buhari's tenure. And I must quickly say before I leave that what President Goodluck Jonathan has done for this country has shot Nigerian political development, has fast-tracked Nigerian political development by 30 years. Although oppositions have defeated incumbent government in some African countries like Senegal and Ghana, but it has not been given global recognition because the big brother has not done it. Now that Nigeria has done it, the big brother has done it. All other sit-tight African leaders are now thinking of how to negotiate their exit because the big brother has done it. And by the time Buhari finishes his own tenure too, he would have fast-tracked Nigerian political development by 50 years. What took America 200 years to do, Nigeria would have reduced it by 100 years.
So you think there will be no more imposition of candidates and the parties will let democracy play out?
It will be tough. It will be tough. Even now, by the time Buhari finished, by the time we get to the next round of elections, there are some of the people that came under this Buhari hurricane, this Buhari Father Christmas thing. There are some of them that will fall by the wayside if they don't live up to that standard. So it's not going to be, it was everybody under PDP canopy went with the Buhari wind, with the Buhari hurricane. But by the time we come to the next round of election, some of them will fall by the wayside because maybe they cannot meet up the standard. So things are going to take shape.
Okay. So thank you for this message once in 4 years, and then
once in 5 years.
5 years, you remember exactly. That's Alhaji Mohammed Yakubu, who is a member of the National Executive Council of Arewa Consultative Forum. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Well, that's the show today. We thank you all for watching. We'll be back tomorrow. I'm Chamberlain Oso.
Well, I do hope that we'll be able to get our guests to speak a lot more often than once in 5 years. Thank you for watching today.
Sorry for... if we have a listening government, I will speak more.
All right. Then.
Okay.
Well, many thanks, Swayman. Have a blessed day.
Bye-bye.